That's that.
Hop on the bandwagon. Last
No,
one on, first one off.
no. When you let me down, I'll never forgive you,
Hey, shout out to Chad Henney though. I do agree.
Chad.
The way he stays ready, the way
That's
he stays
crazy,
ready.
right? That's
That's
nuts.
what you need.
Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with my co host today, as usual, Aaron. Go ahead and say hi, Aaron.
Iron.
And then joining us for the first time as guest host, replacing Siege today, he's out a little bit sick, is Joe. Go ahead and say hi, Joe.
What's going on, fellas?
All right, so all our talk today is going to be focused on the NFL. Most of it to do with the playoffs. Might get into a little off-season stuff if we run short on stuff to talk about, but we shall see. So let's go ahead and start with the first game of the weekend. Chiefs take on the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. End up beating them 27-20. Patrick Mahomes goes down in the first half with an ankle injury. Chad Henne ends up leading the team down in his first drive. After the Mahomes injury, leads them 98 yards down the field to give the Chiefs a lead with a touchdown pass to Travis Kelce. Mahomes comes back in the second half to end up closing out the game for the Chiefs, leading them to that victory. And Trevor Lawrence's second season is officially over, and his first loss on a Saturday has officially happened. But our question to lead off the show is going to be with Mahomes' ankle injury in that first half, it looks like he could be a little bit hampered going into this game against Cincinnati at home in the AFC Championship game. What are your guys' thoughts on how that ankle injury may affect his play this weekend? Obviously, he's more of a mobile quarterback, more so like escaping the pocket, throwing on the run, behind the line of scrimmage, not so much running upfield, but he does have that ability to some degree as well. But obviously, the ankle injury is going to affect him in some way if it is still bothering him. But what do you think, Aaron? Do you think the ankle injury is something to worry about as a Chiefs fan?
I mean, obviously, I from what I've been seeing, I've seen some videos, some overly analyzed videos of him walking off the stage after his little press conferences, and seen some footage of him doing calisthenics and warming up for practice. And he looks pretty good. Not too much of a hobble, so I don't think it's going to be as bad as the typical high ankle sprain it usually is.
Yeah.
But I do think it could play a factor potentially. Um, yeah, I think he'll be, for the most part, okay.
What do you think, Joe? Do you think the ankles injury is something to worry about as a Chiefs fan? Obviously.
I think it's one of those like anything that happens below the waist.
Yeah.
A guy who tumbles, if a lineman falls, I feel like that's gonna be more of like you're holding your breath, you're just waiting until he gets back up kind of thing. As far as like concern going into it, no, I'm sure the Chiefs have killed it. Just making sure he's rehabbing, making sure he's rested, doing stuff like that. And I'm with Aaron, like over analyzing the videos of him walking off the stage and stuff. Like, if you sprained an ankle, you're gonna favor that thing as much as you can until it's back healthy. So I mean, there's nothing to look
Right.
into. I think it's Mahomes, man. I think he's gonna ball out regardless of what happens.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like even when he was walking off that podium, it was like it wasn't even like there was much of a limp. Like there wasn't much limp. It was more like he was trying to be ginger landing on it coming off like landing on that right foot. But I'm not really too concerned about it. The film we've seen where him just like even just jogging in practice, it looks like his ankle's way bad. Like let's be honest, we see that injury, we thought he might be done for the whole playoffs, let alone be able to play this week. So the fact that he looks that good is great. I think he's going to be. I told Aaron earlier this week. I think he's going to be a lot closer to 80% than he is to 60%. But at this point, I think he might be closer to 100% than he is to 80% because he looks really good right now. And honestly, I think even if he is limited to having to stay in the pocket more often than usual, he's also a really good pocket passer. People don't really give him much credit for that because they think of all the throws on the run and the jumping throws and stuff like that. But he is a really good passer in the pocket as well. He may not be as flashy in the pocket as he is outside when he's running around, but he does have that ability to hurt you from inside the pocket as well as outside. So, but the other
I think
team,
it's also going to depend on Philly. Like,
yeah,
if Philly can make him run around,
Cincy,
I think that. I mean, sorry, not Philly, Cincy.
yeah,
If Cincy's pass rush can make him move around, you have a better chance of, like, in that second half, his ankle probably being a little bit more sore, a little, little more hobbled.
yeah,
I'm with you. I think he's closer to healthy than he is missing
mm-hmm.
anytime. But if they can do that, I think that'll. I mean, if they let him sit in the pocket, I don't think that ankle's going to bother him a single bit. And I think he just
Yeah,
took him apart.
yeah. Like if they're only bringing 4 all game, I feel really good about our chances.
Mm-hmm.
If they bring 7, then that might be a little worrisome. But but yeah, if they shoot, but the thing is, if they bring 7, we got 4 going out. One of them's on a slant route, then they're going to get torched. So that's something to look out for. I think it's going to be a really good game, regardless of how that ankle ends up feeling going in. Because I think even if he is 60%, and this is all for show, 60% Patrick Mahomes still better than most quarterbacks out there. So. But that other team playing in the game, Jacksonville Jaguars, first season under Doug Peterson, second season with Trevor Lawrence at the helm at quarterback. Looked really good down the stretch of the season. Started off kind of rough, but closed the season out the way you want to close it out and ended up winning the division thanks to the Titans stumbling there late as well. Won their first playoff game this year with a miraculous comeback against the LA Chargers in the first in the wild card round. Giving them the opportunity to play the Chiefs in Arrowhead in the second round, and a game where I think a lot of people thought it was going to be a blowout. I mean, the spread I think was 9.5 going in, which it was going to be 10 before Jacksonville got. The Chiefs would have won by 10 had Jacksonville not got a garbage time field goal with like less than a minute and 30 left, but. But Jacksonville, obviously, still a really young team. Looked really good to close out the season. Doug Peterson has been known to win some games as a head coach and a play caller. So, what do you guys think is needed for the Jags to be true contenders next year? What do you think they should look at in the draft and maybe in the offseason, free agency wise, to jump up into that next echelon with the Bills, with the Bengals, with the Chiefs as true contenders for the Super Bowl in the AFC? Go ahead, Joe.
Man, one thing for Jacksonville that I think they need, honestly, time. They're a super young team. I think it's one of those, like, you have ETN at running back. You have Marvin Jones, who's the veteran, but is still young, or young enough at least. He's got years left. And then now you have Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. Like, you got some good guys out there in Jacksonville. So offensively, and I think they just need some time. I'd probably go for them off season. Definitely look for some O-line. I think the better that you keep Trevor Lawrence. I mean, every other team says it, right? All the best quarterbacks, they have good O-line. So I think if they can improve that O-line, that's going to help. And then that defense got some young studs, man. They got Devin Lloyd out of Utah. That rookie, he balled this year. And so, I mean, you could always add some extra DBs, but their defense looks like they'll be good. So, just a little more time for them, and you can never go wrong getting better at the line.
Yeah. What do you think, Aaron? What do you think the Jags need to jump up into that next tier of contenders?
I mean, yeah, Joe kind of hit it right on the head. They're a really young team, so maybe some veteran leadership, probably in the secondary, would help the most.
And Tyrann Mathieu, maybe.
Maybe. An offensive line, obviously, you want to keep Lawrence healthy as possible, and then maybe you always want to get him some more weapons too. So maybe a young, speedy receiver that could always help.
Yeah, I think. At first I was thinking they. I think the first thing they definitely need to do is make sure they re-sign Evan Ingram. He was right, Evan Ingram. I'm not sure
Hmm.
on that. Okay. Yeah, they need to re-sign Evan Ingram because his contract was up this year. Um, I think that should be their first priority because he was one of Trevor Lawrence's favorite targets this year, outside of obviously the wide receivers, but like really Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Was that the other one?
Hmm.
Gosh, I
You have
know
Zay
this
Jones
team.
and then
Let's go.
Marvin
I
Jones.
know football. Um, so yeah, I think Evan Ingram was huge. I think he almost had like 1,000 yards, if not had 1,000 yards, along with a few touchdowns. So I think that should be their first priority. I think also some veteran leadership would also be a good idea, like you guys said. Uh, Maybe on that offensive line, that'd be huge. Maybe get one or two vets to help lead that young team up in the trenches. That might be a good move. But then also maybe like a veteran safety as well, back there in that secondary, like you said, Aaron. Um, I don't know who's available. I don't even know if Tyrone Matthews available. That was just the first name that came to mind. Um, so yeah, I think I basically agree with you guys. Yeah, I mean, basically they need a little bit of everything, right? So I guess we can move on to the last game of this past Saturday, Eagles Giants. Eagles end up coming out for the first playoff game this year and just hammered the Giants. Ended up beating them 38-7. This game wasn't close from the first kickoff. Um, Jalen
I think we
Hurts.
should start keeping a tally of your atrocious takes and your
That's
record on
three.
them.
That's three, dog. That hurts. That's three. Uh,
And it ain't even. It's not three close ones. It's three. They getting dogged in those
yeah,
games that
these
you
are
choose.
curses. Yeah, for anybody new, my first bad pick was trusting Baker Mayfield to somehow lead the Rams to a miraculous playoff run. Uh, And then after I fell off that bandwagon, it crashed and burned. I crawled over and jumped on the Detroit Lions bandwagon, hoping they'd sneak into the playoffs and maybe make some noise. They ended up missing the playoffs. So once that wagon exploded and I went flying through the air and I was crippled, this nice Daniel Jones led bandwagon decided to pick me up and throw me on the back. Uh, Little did I know it was a wagon full of corpses and dead dreams because Daniel Jones sucks. Threw for 135 yards, no touchdowns, one pick, 15 for 27. Had 6 carries for 24 yards. Was just absolutely atrocious. I knew my decision was a bad one in their like second possession, I think, maybe third. When Daniel Jones had a chance to go tie the game up, or at least score some freaking points, goes out there and throws a pick on his like own 20-yard line that almost gets taken back for six. I'm like, well, there it goes. There's my dignity. It's gone. That was fun. It was nice while it lasted. So thank you, Daniel Jones, for making me look like an absolute fool. Um,
Again,
yes, again. But I guess we can start with the Giants then, since Daniel Jones just broke my heart in eighths since Baker broke it in half, and then yeah. So that math checks out. Try it. So, but did Daniel Jones do enough this season to justify him being the franchise quarterback going forward for the New York Giants? What do you think, Aaron?
um, I don't think so. Not to be the guy for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Probably enough to keep him around for a bit longer, at least until they get into maybe a position where they can find somebody better. But if they keep at it, it's not like they're gonna have a bad draft pick the way that they're going. This year they were kind of middle of the pack. It could be the same next year. So it's a tough spot to be in when you're just kind of hovering around that middle of the field, just above 500 kind of team, banking the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna find your quarterback there. They're gonna need to either trade to get a high draft pick or have a really sucky season.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Joe? Did Daniel Jones do enough this season to lock in him as being the franchise guy going forward in New York, New Jersey?
I'm gonna agree with Aaron on this one. I don't think not to be the guy, not the one to necessarily lead them back to the Eli Manning days when they win or at least contend for Super Bowls type stuff. But he did enough to where, unless you get a guy that you're in love with in the draft, and you get lucky enough that he falls to you, like I think he's a guy you keep around until you can get that guy. You know what I mean? Or until you can sign that guy in free agency. Let's say Lamar walks and the Ravens let him go. Like, now if Lamar's open, then yeah, New York should be doing anything possible to get that
for
dude
sure.
over there and get Daniel Jones out. You
New
know what I mean?
Jersey.
Anyone would.
They haven't earned the
But-
New York right yet.
Okay, New Jersey, the New Jersey Giants. But I mean, he did rush for 700 yards this year and like 7 touchdowns. And it was one of his better years passing too. So
Maybe he
I
has.
feel like he might be just good enough. Maybe another 1 to 3 years to bridge that off till you get your guy.
Maybe he does what that one quarterback did. That went from after his quarterback career didn't work out, he became a wide receiver. What was his name?
Joe Webb?
No, like the more recent one. Like, oh, yeah, I think he played at Ohio State.
Terrell
Oh,
Pryor?
Braxton Miller.
Oh, Braxton Miller, yeah.
Yeah.
Braxton Miller. I think I was thinking of Terrell Pryor though.
He was like a Heisman candidate, basically, like 1 year at quarterback, and then
Didn't Terrell Pryor
went to
do
the
it too though?
NFL. Terrell Pryor actually like played though quarterback in the NFL.
I know, that's what I mean. Like he played quarterback
don't
in the
know if
NFL and wide receiver, didn't
Oh,
he?
he did. You're
Yeah,
right.
he had like
did.
a 1,000
Very
yard
end of his
season.
career. Yep.
Yeah.
Very end, he went to receiver, and it was like with the Browns or something.
Yeah, it was the Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe Daniel Jones has a career as like a Terrell Pryor-esque guy, where maybe he can be a running back or something. I don't know. But no, I agree.
Only like
He
50
runs like a
yards max.
baby
He's short
giraffe.
this.
So
But he runs.
coordinated.
Do you see him out there? Put him in there for the fucking Wildcat. I don't care. I just know he's not a quarterback anymore. My faith is dead. He was terrible in this game. He has no future as a quarterback. Put him at running back. Put him at wide receiver. Because you're not going to get your money back with him at quarterback. I'm sorry.
He's not
I mean,
consistent
if
enough.
If you get him to like $5 million, that's enough money for
Yeah, I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, obviously. No, I think he's kind of like you guys said. He's going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. But once they have that opportunity to get that next guy, they're going to jump all over it. Because Daniel Jones isn't going to be the guy to lead you to a Super Bowl on his back. Now, however, if you build that defense up well enough and Daniel Jones can cut down the mistakes enough, then I do think you can win a Super Bowl with him as a quarterback, as a game manager-esque guy who can also run. You don't think even if the defense is like
Not
the
in this new era. No.
What if Daniel Jones was on the 49ers? Do you think they would have a chance at the Super Bowl?
No.
You don't think they would have a chance at the Super Bowl?
No.
They're out there with their third string rookie, 7th round,
think Daniel
Mr.
Jones-
Irrelevant, Brock frickin' Purdy, and you don't think Daniel Jones back there, they wouldn't be in the same position at least?
No. Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo is better or worse than Daniel Jones?
A little better.
Okay. Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't win him a Super Bowl. So why do you think Daniel Jones could win him a Super Bowl?
Daniel Jones would have made that throw.
He also would have fumbled 3 other times earlier in the game.
See, now you're just shooting shots that don't need to be shot.
Even though he cut down on the turnovers this year.
I'm saying he has a future as maybe a running back.
Tight end.
Tight end? Ooh, tight end.
Tight end utility player.
He'd
at
be
Taysom Hill.
he'd be a fast tight end too.
Yeah. He needs to bulk up a little bit.
He does. He would need to do that.
Yeah, right now his size, he just looks like a slow receiver.
Yeah. Well, he is white. But what about the Eagles? The Eagles also played in this game. They won this game, and now they're moving on to play the 49ers in the NFC Championship game with a chance to see a Kelsey Super Bowl. So, should the Eagles be a more run or pass dominant team against San Francisco this coming week or this Sunday? Obviously, they've been successful both ways. The Niners are the best defense in the NFL. The Eagles may go balanced, but for argument's sake, let's say they had to pick one, run or pass. Which do you think they should go more towards against this 49ers defense, Joe?
I think they need to be more run dominant. The Niners, the Niners defense is real. They're not a fluke. They're not a joke. They're for reals. But if you can't run the ball at all and you're just letting them basically control the game and just send people when they want, who they want, let those guys pin their ears back like Nick Bosa and them and just pass rush all day, that's that's not a very good recipe for your game. So I think if they can at least run enough to keep the Niners honest about it and at least keep them thinking about it, then I think you're going to give yourself the best shot against a team like that because the
Yeah.
Niners can go all game if you want to be physical.
Oh yeah.
So
I tend to agree. Obviously, their run game is kind of crucial to their pass game. Really opens it up. But I will play devil's advocate here, and we'll throw out pass. Um, you've got one of the best receivers in the league in AJ Brown,
Maybe the best receiving
And-
core.
probably the best receiving core. And you have one of the most dynamic quarterbacks as far as playmaking and keeping the play alive. They love to kind of do little sprint outs, get the pocket moving, and really shifting the defense, keeping them on their toes. And Jalen Hurts is just special when he decides to scramble. So I think that could really cause San Fran problems.
Yeah, I think their best plan of attack may be like a screen game situation. Maybe like a bunch of short passes, get the ball out quick, so you avoid that pass rush by Jimmy, um, by Nick Bosa, and then you also keep Fred Warner and Greenlaw on their toes. They're in the linebacker positions because that ball's coming out so quick. Maybe some screens to the running backs. Maybe some quick slants to the wide receivers. Obviously, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown both have the ability to take it and run 80 yards upfield for a touchdown. So it may not be such a bad thing to get it into your playmakers' hands as quickly as possible. And then obviously, Jalen Hurts does have the ability to break the pocket and then run upfield if he feels like he's being pressured too much. So. I definitely don't think they should go downfield too early, unless they really want to make a statement for some reason. I think they should try to dink and dunk it down the field, at least to start off the game, because they're probably going to be bringing San Francisco's defense is probably going to be bringing that pressure early, trying to get Jalen Hurts off his spots. And disrupting any chance of that run game getting going. So I think if Jalen Hurts can have that ability to get off the snap quick, maybe in a shotgun situation, and get that ball out in a second or two, that would really neutralize San Francisco's ability to do that.
I think you'll see Philly taking more shots than you're kind of expecting. I think that's
Really?
kind of the weaker side of the 49ers defense is their coverage of the deep ball. I mean, obviously they rely heavily on their pass rush to get there in time, but if you can take, like you said, Fred Warner's practically a juiced up corner.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah.
if you can take him out of the equation and keep him from kind of lurking there in the middle of the field, then they're gonna have success.
Right. I guess we can move on to the Bengals game then. Bengals Bills. Obviously, the winner of this game got to be blessed with the opportunity to play the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. So good,
Burrowhead, baby.
good for them. Bengals ended up beating the Bills 27-10. This really wasn't a game from the get go. Bengals ended up going out there and showing how good they really were pretty early. The score is a lot closer than the game was. Bills were able to keep the Bengals from scoring too awful much. but the Bengals were really in command of this game from the get go. So I guess we'll start off with the Bengals. Obviously, with them playing so well up in as visitors up in Buffalo and that snowy weather, with not to mention DeMar Hamlin coming back, that getting the crowd going a little bit extra too. So shout out to that. Shout out to DeMar too for recovering, and continue and prayers out to him for continued recovery. But obviously Buffalo was probably up and ready to go for this game. I'm sure the crowd was crazy loud, and the Buffalo Bills came out there, hopefully wanting to win, even though it didn't really look that way. But the Bengals ended up going out there, shutting the Bills down early, and basically the crowd was never able to get into it. So, can the Bengals replicate that performance in Kansas City that they did in Buffalo? Keep the crowd from getting into it early, maybe, and ended up winning this game in comfortable fashion. What do you think, Aaron?
I think obviously they can go and they can keep a crowd out of it. They can really take a team out of it early, but I think it's hard to keep Chiefs fans out of it because even with Mahomes, any sign of life in that crowd instantly starts buzzing. They can feel the juice. The team's been there before. They've been down. They've been out, and they've come back. So I don't really see the crowd ever getting out of it. Could the Bills come in and shock the Chiefs? Of course, they've done it before, 3 times in fact.
Only once at our place.
Only once at our place, that's true, but nonetheless, they've beat Mahomes 3 times in a row. So they are a dangerous team, and they're not to be taken lightly.
What do you think, Joe?
I totally agree, man. The Chiefs fans, y'all, there's something different. I mean, there's a reason. Right, you guys hold the record for loudest stadium?
Yeah.
142.
Yeah.
Point
there
two.
you go. So, I think when they're just trying to keep them out of it is gonna be tough. They can go up 21-0, but if Mahomes makes a nice play and gets a touchdown to Kelsey, and if Kelsey starts yelling at the crowd to get hype, they're going nuts. There's no question about it. So, once to keep them out of it is gonna be tough. But I'm also agreeing with Aaron. If can the Bengals do exactly that? Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a fun game with those two offenses going at it for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring affair. I mean, fun fact, Joe Burrow's never scored 28 points in a playoff game in his whole career. So that basically means to me that if the Chiefs can score 30, then they're going to win this game. So that's why I say it's going to be a relatively high scoring game. I think it's going to be like the Chiefs are going to have like in the low 30s, and then the Bengals might have like mid to high 20s by the end of it. Or I guess low 20s because I forgot I kind of made my bed here already. So, yeah, I think the Bengals are going to have a tough time keeping Chiefs fans out of it, especially because we lost to them in this same game, in this same stadium last season. I think Chiefs fans are rabid, ready to finally beat this Joe Burrow led team and get this monkey off our back, because it's just been it's like the one stain on Patrick Mahomes' record in his career. I guess two stains. One Tom Brady, which that's okay. Everyone has that stain, but the other one's Joe Burrow. So if he can finally put those demons to rest this week, then I think Patrick Mahomes is going to go on to be the best quarterback of this generation, without a doubt. However, if Joe Burrow beats Patrick Mahomes this week, I think he's got a real conversation for best quarterback in the world. What do you guys think about that question? Do you think if Joe Burrow wins this week, he's got a real argument for best quarterback on the planet?
Yeah, I kind of do. It's kind of.
Yeah.
I still think you can't forget
Same
about
with the
guys like
chest.
I know the winning Aaron Rodgers. Like I know people still hate it, but you can't deny that arm talent wise, that dude's top of the league with anyone you want to put up there. But I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to winning. And as of right now in Joe Burrow's career, that dude is winning. He's worth
Yeah.
every bit of that number one pick right now.
No
If he
kidding.
beats Mahomes again,
He's no
who
Baker
is
Mayfield.
the number one quarterback, is gonna be it's gonna be hard to just keep him out of it. Will it make him the best? No, I don't think so. But I think it puts him up there that like if he's in the conversation, you can't be astonished that somebody thinks that.
Right. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a case to be made, especially more so this year than last year. I think the Bengals do have a better receiving core than the Chiefs do this year.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is a factor. But yeah, I mean, it's undeniable that you can't. I think he's already a top 5 quarterback.
Oh, for sure. I think he's number
wins
2.
I think if he wins this game, it's definitely
Who do you have ahead
a
of him?
top 2 or 3.
Who do you have ahead of him right now?
I don't have any. I have. It's probably Mahomes and then him. I was just saying he's for sure
Okay.
top 5.
Okay. I was just wondering because you made it seem like he was like full.
I mean, it's his 3rd year.
Yeah. Mahomes was the best quarterback in the league in his 3rd year.
I think it takes more than 3 years to kind of cement yourself as the top guy.
He literally won a Super Bowl in his
Especially-
3rd year.
I know. It's for me. It's more about consistency. I mean, anybody can be great for a stretch of time. To be like
He
the
was
number
great
1
forever.
overall, you got to do it. What?
He was great forever. Since the day he was born.
Okay. You were also arguing that in his first year starting, he was better than Tom Brady. He was already the GOAT, so
Hey, that was the 5,050 season.
I
Right?
agree.
That
He
what-
was. He was already. He was already
He
the
wasn't
go.
the best. He wasn't the best because Big Ben was up there that season with the 5,000.
We didn't have as many yards
He-
or as many. No, he only had
Not
50
touchdowns.
touchdowns. Yeah, he didn't have as many touchdowns. He might have had more yards actually. That might have been.
I
What
think
it
he
was.
had more yards. Definitely
Yeah,
no.
that might have been what it
no, he
was.
didn't throw 50 touchdowns.
No.
No chance.
Yeah. That's still crazy that he did that in his first year starting. I don't think that gets talked about as much as it should. Like we kind of all forget about that. I think that he fucking did that in his
Well,
first
yeah,
year
because then
starting.
he goes and puts up, what, like 3 straight 4,000-yard seasons. It's
Yeah.
normal to see him
Yeah.
throw for 303 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It doesn't shock us. Now everyone wants to see the no-look throws, the
Mhm.
do a backflip, turn around, lay down, flick it with your wrist, and then score a touchdown. Like, I want to
Yeah.
see something like that.
the
Yeah.
behind the back throw is coming. I believe it.
Dude, it might.
If we-
I
if we
really
get
do
up
think
and
it
up in the
will.
Super Bowl.
It was screen, right? Like you can do it on a screen. You can get away with it on a screen. I think.
No, I disagree. I don't think you do it on a screen.
What do you do it on a
You gotta get
fucking?
the screens out there.
One
Do it on a
island.
fucking fly route? What do you want to do it on?
No, just a crossing route. Man coverage, crossing route.
He gotta have
Back-
some
little
arm
linebacker,
strength.
down
Backside
ball.
trailer. Yeah, just a dude trailing on the backside when
Oh.
he cooks it.
I can see
It's
it
gotta,
now.
it's gotta be one-on-one though, and nobody else around. If someone
Yeah.
else is around, that's a pick. But if it's one-on-one, you might have a chance to catch a dude sleeping.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Joe Burrow's the second best quarterback in the league. I don't know why people are saying Josh Allen's better than him. I guess they probably aren't right now, but they have been saying that is my point. But speaking of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs yelled at Josh Allen on the sideline during their brutal loss to the Cincinnati Bengals this past week. What do you think this outburst from Diggs means for the rest of the Buffalo Bills and Diggs' future with Buffalo? Do you think it could result in them parting ways at some point? Do you think Diggs was in the right to criticize Josh Allen? What are your thoughts, Joe?
I think he was in the right to criticize Josh Allen, depending on the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, if they're boys, if they're cool, if they call each other out on stuff like that, then I don't see a problem with it. I mean, Diggs isn't a guy that gets in trouble much, but you can tell, without a doubt, that dude is passionate. You know, you can just tell by the way he plays with a lot of emotion. So I think him being mad, I mean, what they say, he's been in the same spot 3 years. now after standing there watching your guys' parade. Like, he really has. They get a win, they lose. They get a win, they lose. They lose. Like, if it's you can't settle for that if you're really trying to win a championship. If you're just happy with that, then
They
that
hate.
seems like Diggs' passion is we should be happy here. So I'm good with it. I like Diggs. I think he
Yeah.
stays in Buffalo because there's no doubt that ever since that dude's been in Buffalo, in my opinion, I think he's at least been top five.
I know he wants to come to Kansas City so bad because he knows that he would win a championship here, and that's why he's so mad. I think that's why he's so
Oh, you're
mad.
so full of shit. He said that he loves Buffalo. When he got there, it felt like home, and he loves Josh Allen. You're full of shit. He's calling out his guy. I mean, he's a competitive, fiery guy. It's not like we didn't see the frustration when he was in Minnesota. So
Right, and
it's
he
to be
left.
expected. He's staying there. He loves Buffalo. He loves Josh Allen. Loves
He
that
hate.
team.
He said he loved Kirk Cousins too.
Yeah, but they weren't gonna pay him what he should have got.
I'm
Like he did
saying.
in
I'm
Buffalo.
just saying. I think I would. I just don't be surprised when you see Stephon Diggs in Kansas City Red here in 3 years.
Hey, Kirk Cousins wasn't throwing no 60-yard bombs for him either.
Okay, obviously I'm joking. I don't think this really means anything for them either. I think Stephon and Josh Allen and the Bills are all fine. Um, I do think his little antics about trying to leave the locker room early and stuff like that were a little shitty, but it's whatever. If they get over it, they get over it. I think it'll be fine in the end. Um, but do you think Buffalo's kind of in trouble looking forward though? Obviously, all the Chiefs, even though they lost guys, seem to take a step forward this year. Figure some stuff, at least in the running game, they did for sure. The Bengals obviously took a step forward this year. The Jags took a step forward this year. The Chargers took a step forward this year. With all these teams in the AFC taking a step forward and closing in or surpassing or staying ahead of the Bills. Um, what do you think? And then the Bills obviously having a lot of people to pay this offseason. What do you think this means for Buffalo in the future? Like, do you think Buffalo is going to continue to slip down and down further and further down the seedings these next few years? What do you? And then obviously Miami is in their own division. Jeez, I didn't even think about them. Obviously Buffalo's got a lot of competition going forward. What do you think? Do you think they're a little bit in trouble here? Anyone?
Every team in the AFC's a little in trouble because every other team at the top is so good. I think Buffalo has some things to figure out on offense. They need a more reliable running back, though. They got Naheem Hines from the Colts. They didn't really use him. Um, Probably due to the fact that they got him kind of middle of the season, and it's kind of tough to plug in a guy, especially into an offense that was humming at the time. I think over the offseason they could really figure some things out with him because he's such a dynamic player. But I think they need more of a true running back, um, someone who can really pound the rock and carry them if need be when Josh is struggling.
Yeah. Joe, what do you think?
I think Buffalo. I think just stayed in the same spot. I'm not gonna say, which I guess you can actually say is considered a step back because you always need to be getting better.
Yeah.
But the way the competition is coming in the AFC, like you have to do everything you can. I feel like every single year to give yourself the best chance possible. I don't think you have. Like if you don't do anything, you're definitely gonna get passed. Because like you said, even Miami's in their own division. Miami's not a joke.
Yeah.
They if they had Tua, I firmly believe they'd be in the playoff
Yeah,
if
I
they still
agree.
had him. And so you think about what they did this year, and all the other teams, and the Chiefs are still at the top right now, but there's competition coming up. Cincy's one of them right there. So I think it's just gonna they have to do everything they can to get better because at this point it's not working. You're still in the same spot. So got to figure something else out. I agree with Aaron too on the run game. If they can get somebody else other than Josh Allen being their leading rusher in a game, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, moving on to the last game of this past weekend, the Sunday night football game where the San Francisco 49ers played host to the Dallas Cowboys.
Dang, dang,
Uh,
dang.
49ers ended up coming out with the win, beating the Cowboys 19 to 12 in a hard fought defensive battle where the offenses did not get going really at all on either team for the most part. I believe only one touchdown was. Two touchdowns were scored. Yeah, two touchdowns were scored total between the two teams in this game. Rest of the points coming on field goals. Um, Start off with the 49ers. Obviously, with this 49ers team showing that the offense apparently has a little bit of trouble getting going against these better defensive teams like the Dallas Cowboys, going up against another good defensive team in the Philadelphia Eagles this coming weekend in the NFC Championship game. Can the Niners score enough on offense to beat the Philadelphia Eagles? Like, is the offense going to be able to score against the Philadelphia Eagles at all? Go ahead, Jim. Or either one.
I I I said it earlier. Purdy hadn't really seen a good defense, and here he comes up against a solid Cowboys defense, and they struggled. They were slow coming out the gate, and they did pick things up in the second half a little bit, but still, you're gonna need to score more than 19 points to beat the Eagles,
Oh, for sure.
who have in their own right a really good defense
And a good offense. That's the thing.
and a very good offense. Yeah, I think a lot of people expected more from the Cowboys.
Disappointing season for them.
Yeah, it always is.
Surprising. It's hey, next year's their
Hey.
year, guys.
Yeah, next year's
exactly. But what do
I
you
think
yeah,
when
go
it
ahead,
comes
Joe.
to, I think yes, the Niners offense can score enough to beat Philly. The reason I say that is because I have full faith that that Niners defense can hold any team to like 14 points. So, yeah, if you give yourself a chance, I mean, they did it for Jimmy G last year in his playoff run, and every year that he's been there, he goes and throws one touchdown, and they win 10-7, or they win 13-7 because that defense did everything. So I think the offense can outscore Philly simply because of that, but it's gonna be tough because if that Philly offense gets going, yeah, they're not out. They're not gonna outscore them.
Yeah, no.
In a shootout, no chance. I don't think.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I don't think the Niners can win if turns into a shootout kind of game. They're definitely going to have to win in a low scoring defensive affair where both teams score under 28. But yeah, I think the Niners offense can, kind of like what you're saying, Joe. I think the defense is going to play so well, even though it is a really good offensive team over there. So are the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are no slumps on defense. They just choke in the biggest moments possible every single year, especially in the divisional round of the playoffs, specifically with Dak Prescott and Tony Romo under center. That's all. But I do think that the San Francisco 49ers can make enough stops on the defensive side to allow their offense to win by only scoring 21, 24 points. And I mean, not to spoil anything going forward, but that's who I'm going to have coming out this game. Is I'm going to have the Niners winning this game. I've had the Niners coming out of the NFC since October or something like that. That's the team. I've been riding with the Chiefs Niners Super Bowl since day one. So, no reason to jump off that bandwagon now. But moving on to the Dallas Cowboys, obviously another disappointing finish for them this season, losing in the divisional round of the playoffs once again. Dak Prescott now has the same playoff record as Tony Romo with a 2-4 record overall, 0-3 in the divisional round. They have not made the NFC Championship game since Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin were on the team. My goodness, are Jerry Jones' days numbered? Like, they need to win a championship, and they need to win one soon. Because I mean, they got to something's got to change, and a lot of people are saying it should be Dak. What are your guys' thoughts? Is it time for them to move on from Dak? Obviously, they paid him a lot recently. They might have to eat a lot of money, but is it worth it at this point? Because this is not working. Something's got to change. They've changed coaches. They've changed general managers. The only thing they haven't changed is the quarterback and the owner. And right now, only one of those is going to change. The other one may change soon, but right now, only one can change. So, what do you guys think? Do they need to move on from Dak, Joe?
I mean, one thing I think people need to remember is before Dak got hurt last year, the level he was playing at, he was balling. Yes, I know he's inconsistent. Totally get that. But he also never had a defense those years, and the only reason they won that many games was because Dak on offense was lighting it up. And so I think that's more of me just hoping that Dak can be a little bit better for them,
Yeah.
especially when you have a defense that didn't just look good on paper, performed just as well too. And so, it, at the same time, you have that much money. If you can dump that and the contract, I guess go for it. But you better have a good backup plan and out in play, because if it goes bad, you're gonna waste a lot of young talent out there.
Yeah. What do you think, Aaron? Time to move on from Dak?
It's it's a sticky situation because, like you said, they did pay him a lot, and he is a decent quarterback. Not the most consistent. He did have trouble with turnovers this year,
Bad.
but I think
That's the
a
reason they
lot of
lost.
people forget about Cooper Rush and the stretch of games he had. He showed that he was at least reliable as a backup and showed promise that he might be able to be a starter for a team.
Yeah.
So there is an option if they really want to move on from Dak. I don't see them moving on from Dak at least this season.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think it's coming sooner than most people think. I don't think. Well, then again, they rode with Tony Romo's ass for like a decade or so, and they never won. So maybe they're willing to do it again. Uh, it's very possible. Dak would be the guy they would do that with. They love Dak. Jerry Jones specifically loves the heck out of the guy. So it wouldn't shock me. I think they need to look into it. I think they need to look into getting a better, someone who's reliable down the stretch of a football game. Someone who's not going to turn the ball over 2 times in a playoff game and then only to lose that playoff game by 7 points. Like, I mean, you really can't. Other than maybe Maher, there's nobody else to pin this loss on. And the only reason I say maybe Maher is because, yeah, sure, he was going to miss that first extra point, even if it didn't get blocked. But they probably would have kicked it at least once or twice when they punted. And, if they would have had any faith in him. But Dak Prescott is probably the person most to blame in this situation. Those two interceptions were inexcusable. He was staring those dudes down, and he threw it right like there was just nowhere else that ball was going other than that guy he was throwing the ball to. It was ridiculous. So he's proven once again he can't win when it matters most, and I think it's time for them to move on. But like you said, with that money attached to them, I don't know how they do that. So. I guess we can move on to our conference championship picks for this coming weekend. Obviously, in the AFC, we have. Whoops. Well, in the AFC, we have Chiefs Bengals, as you can see. And then in the NFC, we have Eagles and 49ers. So we'll start with the AFC. Bengals visiting Arrowhead. A lot of Bengals players out there calling it Burrowhead. A lot of bulletin board material being put up for the Chiefs this coming week. Uh, I expect them to come out with a fire in them, and I think they're going to demolish the Bengals by double digits, by 10 points. I mean, so a real demolishing. But I think the Chiefs win by 10 points. We'll go with 34-24. Go ahead, Aaron.
I think this is going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think the Chiefs are probably going to struggle a little bit stopping the run, and that's going to open up some deep shot opportunities for the Bengals. And I think the Bengals are going to kind of force Mahomes to get the ball out of his hands quickly and use a lot of checkdowns. I think it's going to be a 38 to 34 win for the Chiefs.
Joe.
Just because I can. I'm calling the Bengals for the win. Just in spite of you two.
We kind of have to.
If you want my honest opinion, I think Casey's going.
Hell
That's
yeah.
my honest opinion. Just because you two really think you're gonna win, I think I'm gonna take Joey B on this one.
All right.
I think the Bengals have a real chance. I think the Chiefs defense still has a lot of holes to fill. I mean, they're making some plays, but I think
On the secondary,
Chris
maybe
Jones
our
is
front
gonna
seven
have
are
to-
nice.
Chris Jones is gonna have to have a big game this week. I think that front seven, if you guys do not pressure Burrow, I think it's gonna be harder than you guys think. I think he's gonna kill you guys. But the sleeper, this is my pick though for the sleeper on them. Joe Mixon for player of the game.
Okay.
I think Joe Mixon's gonna go for
I can see that. If they're going to beat
80
us,
to
it's gonna be
100
running.
rushing yards, but I think he's gonna have like another 80 or 90 receiving on you guys. I think
Okay.
he's gonna have a few good plays, maybe a few, good pass rush by the Chiefs. Burrow gets out, just flips it out to him, and Burrow or Mixon just makes it happen. So I'm gonna go Bengals 30-28. Cincy, Joe Mixon, player of the game.
I like it. I like it. Also,
He
see.
did send us his picks. Were you going there?
Yeah, I was about to go there.
Go ahead.
All right. So our good buddy Siege did send us his picks for this coming weekend. He has 31-24 Bengals win. So it is 2-2. But me and Aaron are right. We all know that. So moving on to
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
If you guys are right, then I want to be wrong every day and twice on Sunday.
Moving on to the NFC, we got Niners, Eagles. Obviously, probably going to be defensive battle over there in Philadelphia between the top two defensive teams in the league this past year. But Philadelphia also has a great offense. It really could go either way. I think this is going to be a closer game than the Chiefs-Bengals game, if I'm being honest. But ultimately, I do think the 49ers defense is going to do enough to hold off Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to have the San Francisco 49ers winning this game. We'll go 17-10.
I kind of think the opposite. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think they're going to win handily. Sure, the 49ers might get some garbage time points, but I don't think it'll be as close as necessarily the score reflects. I think it'll probably be 28-21.
Yep.
Taking the Niners.
Hell yeah.
Gotta go with the Niners, man. I think their defense has been legit. I think people slept on it during the regular season. I think people are realizing it again when it comes down to the crunch time. Those guys win. You know, whether or not they can win a Super Bowl, we'll leave that up to Shanahan. But as far as making it, they win. So I'm going with the Niners. I think Fred Warner's gonna go crazy. You know, I'm a San Diego kid, so I gotta rock with the Dago guy. But I do think him and Dre Greenlaw are gonna be a big part of that game and keeping Jalen Hurts contained, making some plays. So I think they're gonna do it, and I think they're gonna keep the Eagles to 10. I think
Hell
they're
yeah, me too,
absolutely
buddy.
tie for them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a little more leniency to. I give them 21-10. I'm gonna give Purdy a
Okay,
little bit
okay,
of room. I
okay.
think
You're more
Purdy's gonna-
confident in them than I
It
am.
might be a garbage time. It might be when the
Yeah,
game's pretty
yeah.
much finished. He might throw another touchdown, but I'm gonna give it to him. 21-10 Niners.
All right, I like that hit.
I do have to go out and say though, big fan of Jalen Hurts, so I am rooting for the guy. So if
Fair
he
enough.
won, I wouldn't be too mad. But
Fair
let's
enough.
go with the Niners.
And then our good buddy Siege also had the Eagles winning 27-17. So we're also 2-2 right there, with me and Joe being correct on that one. So, I guess we can move on to our.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah, I'm always right. That's what I heard.
It's a common denominator.
Yeah, except for those other times.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
weren't right.
We don't
Tell
talk.
that to Baker and Daniel Jones.
And Dan Campbell. Damn it, son of a bitch. But moving on to our Player of the Week nominations, we have started nominating Players of the Week, and that is what our Player of the Week nominations are. It's us nominating Players of the Week around the NFL. So we'll start off with Aaron. Who was your Player of the Week in the NFL this past weekend during the divisional round of the playoffs?
My player of the week was anybody who ran the ball for Philadelphia. I mean, they
Yeah, that's
tallied up 268 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. More specifically, Kenneth Gainwell, 12 carries, 112 yards. It's just insane, especially against a Giants defense who was no slouch all season. So, yeah, I mean, just great job by them.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? Who was your Player of the Week?
Player of the week was Cavante Turpin, the return man on the Cowboys. That man had
Interesting.
4 returns for 120 yards. He just so happened to be followed up by the least valuable player of the entire week, Dak Prescott.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I
When
can't
you give
lie.
Your team, when you average 30 yards is not bad. But considering those 2 of them were for at least like 40, and when you're starting the ball in midfield, man, you can only score a touchdown. That's not your. That's. I don't know.
Can't score a touchdown. You can't score shit. You can't even score a field goal. They had 12.
Sorry, 12 on the other side of the touchdown. But nah, man, I'm gonna give it to that guy, but I'm gonna give my nod to. Outside of it being a special teams guy, my player of the week is going to just be that Niners defense. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely stifled
I like
Dallas. And like you said, close game, score-wise. I mean, when you watched it, though, you kind of felt that the Niners just had them. That it's especially the whole second half. So I'm giving that Niners defense player of the week.
I like that.
I mean, also shout out to the Jamal Agnew, I believe was his name, the return guy from
Baller.
Jacksonville. He
Oh, yeah, bro. Oof.
hits.
That was scary, bro. I swear he was going to
Yeah.
take one back.
He almost did like twice.
I know. My Player of the Week, I'm going to go.
Another San Diego guy, too. Shout out to Jamal. Shout out to my Jamal.
I'm going to go with Anything's Possible, Chad Henne. Chad Henne stepping in there for Patrick Mahomes after he went down. Had an opportunity to march the team down the field 98 yards for a touchdown that took the lead that the Chiefs never relinquished the rest of the game. So shout out to Chad Henne. Second time in his Chiefs tenure that he's been able to do that in a playoff game. Last time back in 2019 against the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield's bitch ass. So shout out to Chad Henne one more time for being able to hold the fort down while Pat went and got X-rays because Andy made him do that. So
First of all, man, those feeling towards Baker really flipped quick.
he let me down. That's
Up
that.
on the bandwagon. Last
No.
one on, first one off.
No, when you let me down, I'll never forgive you.
Hey, shout out to Chad Henne though. I do agree.
Chad
The
Henne.
way he stays ready, the way
That's
he stays
crazy,
ready,
right? That's nuts.
That's what you need. That's what any team wants in your backup. Like you want a guy that any moment he's ready to step up and ball out for you. So man, to do it on one drive, let alone do it a touchdown, keep the game rolling, that was just ice cold right
That was
there.
nuts.
Ice cold.
Yeah,
Couldn't do
that's
that.
crazy.
And then just go back on the bench and chill for the rest of the day.
Yeah, just be like, well, made my money.
Yep, that was worth my $2 million vet salary right
Yeah.
there. 3 mil.
Exactly. Alright, so before we go, because we're like an hour into our podcast, so perfect timing. But before we go, leaving with our random sports fact of the week, which is Japan is home to the world's largest bowling alley. The Inazawa Bowling Center in Japan, opened in 1972, has 116 lanes. You probably won't have to wait to throw those gutter balls.
Oh, Jesus.
And thank you guys for coming. We will see you later. Just like
on that cringy joke.
Did you say 116 lanes?
116 lanes, isn't that shit crazy?
I want to know what the population is of that city. Like, do they have a ton of freaking people? They got
Not
like,
enough to need 160.
Nah,
lanes.
no shot. Even Tokyo's not big enough for that. So I don't know.
I bet you they got some world champion bowler that we don't even know because they don't compete for us. I
Mhm.
bet you they got a guy that bowls 300 each week. Don't even care. Don't even bat an eye.
Or just go down each lane.
Shinsuke something. I don't know. I don't want to. I know Shinsuke's a name over there. I know that much.
Cultured man.
I am. Very much so.
Ooh, I do have something I want to bring out before we head out.
Alright, what's up? What's up?
We're gonna take a step away from the NFL just from this one. Really want to hear Burke's take on it too, but Aaron, I want to hear you first. All-star starter snubs.
Oh,
There's every single year there are some, but this year
Yeah.
there definitely seem to be quite a few that got snubs.
yeah. So,
But let me just hear what you guys think. It can be, a couple guys. I just want to hear what you think.
so I will say in the Eastern Conference, I knew that someone was getting snubbed bad in the front court. Like the front court field was not fair. You had Giannis, KD, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid. One of those guys was not going to be a starter. Like, there's just nothing you could do about that. And all four of those guys obviously deserve to be starters. I wish the voting was positionless. I think that those four guys, along with Donovan Mitchell or Ja Morant or Tyrese Halliburton, in my opinion, should have been Tyrese Halliburton, but that's beside the point. Should be, like that should be how it is. Like put Tatum or KD at the 2 to start. Well, KD's out, so he probably wouldn't even be able to start anyway. So Joel's probably going to start. But no, I mean I knew someone was going to get snubbed over there. Obviously, Joel Embiid got snubbed. I think Tyrese Halliburton got snubbed in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, I wasn't able to look at the rosters yet. So just give me one quick second while I look those up. Why did I go to the picture? Aaron, you have any opinions?
I mean, I don't know who the reserves are.
Well, they haven't. Yeah, they're still voting on those or whatever. The coaches are figuring those out.
So it's just the starter snubs.
Yeah, just starter
Not
snubs.
all stars.
But in the
I
Western,
think Shea is kind of
Shea got snubbed. I agree.
is one of those that has a strong argument to be in there.
But see, that's another thing where that positionless comes in play because Steph Curry and Luka are your two guards. I mean, those two are also well deserving. So, but go ahead.
I mean, yeah, that's really the only one that really stands out to me. Not the biggest basketball guy, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's having a heck of a season, probably his best season.
Oh, for sure.
And I think you could have an argument that you see some of these names in here that get in just because they're big names, and they always do.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron deserved it. He's having a great statistical season. Zion probably doesn't. He's been hurt like all year. I'm not sure who the first person. Maybe Domantas Sabonis deserved that spot, or I don't know. I can't think of any other bigs in the West right now, or forwards even in the West right now. But I'm sure someone else could have taken that spot. Zion's been hurt for like the entire year basically. He's only played like 20 games. But I mean, yeah, I think some of the snubs come down to the whole position thing. Like, Joel Embiid should be in here, but who out of KD, Giannis, and Tatum are you going to take off there for him? It's tough, you know. And then Shea should have probably been on there, but out of Steph and Luka, who do you take off? That's the thing. So I think the position thing's the biggest problem here, Joe. What do you think?
I'm with you. Zion was the biggest.
Zion's
one
like the
that should-
biggest one.
There's no shot he should have been on there. So he actually played 29 games this season.
Yeah.
29 games doesn't even qualify him to be on the NBA points per game leaderboard.
Probably not even field goal percentage, yeah.
He doesn't even qualify. If he doesn't qualify, then
He
why
shouldn't
is
be
he-
voting eligible.
I know
agree.
the fan vote. I totally get it. Okay, if the fan vote is that going to be that big of a deal, then just make him an all-star.
Yeah.
Don't make him a starter.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't him, then I agree with. I think Sabonis, mainly because right now he's
Sabonis
NBA
was the first
and
one that came to
rebounding.
mind, yeah.
So,
I know he's been
but if it's
amazing.
positionless, I'm going with you and Aaron both. Shea was my one.
Mhm.
He's averaging 30 points per game.
Nuts.
He deserves to be on the
Nuts.
All-Star starter.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
you made a great point though. You can't take off Luka. You can't take off Steph. They're killing
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
So if you have no positions and you can go three guards, then Shea should absolutely be over. I think anybody in the West, if it's positionless. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
mean,
East was a tough one, man. Too.
yeah,
to-
yeah.
They got some guys like you said Embiid, but same thing. Who does he get put over and stuff like that? But one person I liked, I did see another one about a snub, and I didn't know Lauri Markkinen was having. season that he's
That's a
having.
good one. Yeah, that was the other forward I should have thought of. Yeah,
I hope he at least makes the All-Star
I do
game,
too. He
just
deserves
because
it.
he's averaging, I think it's almost 25 points a game, and I know he's doing it on he's shooting over 40% from three, and he's
Mhm.
scoring at 60-something% from the field.
Yeah, he's going stupid.
He's
this
putting
year.
up an all-star season.
For
So
sure.
I hope he at least needs to make it. But again, there ain't nobody on those starting five in the East though that I'm putting him over.
Yeah, no. Well, he's in the West now. He's on the Jazz.
I meant he is with Utah now.
I mean, yeah, but
Again,
Zion
anyone
would be the
else
only
other
guy.
than Zion.
Yeah. I mean, you're not putting him over Jokic and LeBron. LeBron is as much of a LeBron hater as I am, which the audience hasn't gotten a chance to hear that yet. I can't deny how much he deserves this. Like, he is going insane this year at his age. Like, this is ridiculous at this point. This is insane.
20th season.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is
And
insane.
he's out there averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah, like it's
And I think it's like 30. I think he's averaging 38-7 right now.
dude. Dead
Age
ass might play another
38 in
10
20th
years.
season is stupid.
Dude might dead ass play another 10 years. It's insane. But that'll do it for episode 8 of Swivel Chair Sports, the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world, with my co-hosts Aaron and our buddy Joe. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Hey, y'all have a good one.
All right, and I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Please, if you made it this far into the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you to all who have watched and made it this far. Other than that, we'll see you. Join the gang, yeah. Join the Swivel Chair gang. Gang gang. And other than that, we'll see you next time, guys. Appreciate you all for watching.